All right. So this one's going to be a little bit more, I guess, poetical, right, in terms of book reviews. So thinking is not enough, but you actually have to apply it, right? So just thinking to yourself does absolutely nothing, right? You actually have to do actions to make changes and so on. And kind of for this, it's a little bit of a book review of a short but definitely thought-worthy book, right, is As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, right? And so who was he, if I could speak this morning? So he was a journalist slash reporter in 1893 and was also a private secretary throughout the 1890s. And kind of the title of the book itself comes from Proverbs 23:7, right? As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, right? And that's kind of the whole thought of the book, right? And so, like I said, it's short. It's only 75 pages or so, and it was made, or I guess published, in 1903. So it's an older one, obviously. But it's very, I don't want to say abstract, but it's very, it's supposed to be very thought-provoking, where you kind of have little, I guess you can call them quips, that you really have to think about, right? And it's kind of more of like a life philosophy or how to think about things, right? And so to take a quote from the book directly on why you should read it is, the mind is the master weaver, both of the inner garment of character and the outer garment of circumstance, right? And so like how you think of almost exclusively defines your perspective and how you see the work or world or whatever. So kind of really going into attitude and mindset in that section. And he does break this into multiple sections on how to think things, how to think about things. And so he's really trying to, he breaks apart like the purpose and such of your thoughts and how that replies or kind of connects to like your character, right? And then how does that have an effect on your circumstances and that sort of thing. And then like your health, your body having a purpose, that sort of thing, right? Like I said, very short, very sweet, sometimes depressing depending on which section you're in, that sort of thing. There's also a little like poems and stuff throughout it that are applicable because again he was kind of a poet. So what else can you find in here? So to take another quote, so it says, it shows how in his own thought world each man holds the key to every condition, good or bad, that enters into his life, and that by working patiently and intelligently upon his thoughts he may remake his life and transform his circumstances, right? So kind of a more poetical way to basically say is like you're in charge of your own stuff, like take ownership in a way, and you can change it. Like actually changing your mindset and attitude toward things will eventually, which will like change kind of who you are because you have a different mindset, and that changes your character, right? And then it kind of goes further into that changes your habits, and that changes what you do, and so on. It just kind of snowballs into like actually changing your circumstances in life, right? Kind of that type thing. And that's just part of the book, right? Also, to take another quote, so a man is literally what he thinks, his character being the complete sum of all his thoughts, right? And he's really trying to kind of synthesize that kind of relationship between like your thoughts, your mindset, and so on with your character, right? So sections throughout the book in general. So he has thought and character, kind of what these quotes were about initially. Another one is the effect of your thoughts on circumstances, right? So how the way you think and your mindset actually affects your circumstances in life, the effect of your thoughts on your health and your body and so on, thought and purpose. And to take that, he talks about, so until thought is linked with purpose, there is no intelligent accomplishment, right? And then goes on to say aimlessness is a vice, right? And that's where I was kind of going at first with the beginning of the video saying thinking isn't enough. You actually have to do things. There has to be some form of application where you apply this mindset or thought process or whatever to actually do things, right? So there's that. There's the, as he says, the thought factor in achievement, right? Again, aimlessness is a vice. Also, another section, vision and ideals, goes a little bit more into that as well. And then serenity. to take a small quote on that being the final section of the book is, "Calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. It is the result of long and patient effort in self-control," right? Really kind of letting that part sink in for serenity, right? So with that being said, I'm not going to read the book to you, especially because it's only 75 pages. But when I went through it, it was very much like there are sections to where like I highlight a significant portion. You can see I have sticky notes in here too, which for like specific passages and stuff that I thought that it would be important for me to keep going back to these at some point, right? And some of them are multiple paragraphs and so on, so I'm not going to go in depth. But regardless, that's kind of what to expect in the book in general. Even if it's not really your type of thing, I mean, it's only 75 pages. I mean, you can literally sit down and read it in like a lunch break if you're a fast reader, I guess. And it's not like it has Bible print in it, meaning the size of the print is not tiny. But it's definitely a nice little read and really kind of makes you be a bit more introspective, right, at first. At least it's helpful in like kind of figuring out your own stuff and I guess putting your house in order, so to say, right? So that being said, I'm going to leave this one here. And I will try to find, or I'll put as a card in the end screen also a link to the video for The Art of War that I did. Just kind of, because it's kind of similar in terms of being more, I guess like a bullet pointed list of kind of things to think about, right? There's a lot of application for that book as well, right? So for last time, here's the cover. Try not to get too much of a reflection. But anyways, I'm going to leave this one here. So hope to see you guys in the next one.